Welcome to SVG-TV News for Wednesday, June 15, 2016. I am Rochelle Batiste with the details. As parents and teachers celebrate the achievements of the students who were successful in this year's Caribbean Primary Exit Assessment Examination, SVG-TV News caught up with the principals of the Windsor Primary, the Kingston Prep, Canaan Government, and the Richland Park Seventh-day Adventist Primary, who all expressed elation with the results.
With our results, like I predicted that we're going to be coming in the top 10, and we did, and I want to thank God Almighty for help. Our overall percentage pass is 100. Everyone that took it, the 17, all of them passed, and our top 10 are Rhea Cannell and Akila Crichton. They came 8th, they tied for 8th, and Matthew Washington, he came second overall, second for boys.
I am indeed pleased. I was really looking forward to 100% pass. Maybe I was expecting too much, but we have attained a 97.2% pass rate, and to me that is excellent. By and large, it is the best results we would have had in many, many years. So I think it's a good retirement package for me.
When I first learned of the results and our achievements, I was very, very happy. Not that I was shocked because of Ezekiel placing third. I always believe that he will place in the top 10. It's a great sense of achievement because I think the team here at the school worked hard.
Today I'm excited, I'm ecstatic because of our students' achievement here at the Canaan Government School. Ezekiel is a true role model for our students here at Canaan Government School. He was an outstanding student. He settles for nothing less than his best.
It's my first year being the principal. I am very elated at our result. We created history today because it's the first time we are getting 100% passes. We send 15 students and the 15 of them pass, and they pass very well, and we are very happy, and we say to God be the glory.
Meanwhile, the top student for the Richland Park Seventh-day Adventist School, Andrew Dowers, who placed 16 for boys and 23rd overall, thanked God, his parents, and teachers for believing in him, and is looking forward to attending the Mountain View Adventist Academy in September.
Proud. I think I should give God thanks because He is who helped my schoolwork and my success. Without God, nothing possible. So I like to give God thanks to my teachers who helped me through all the classes, and the principal, the grade 6 teacher, and everyone who helped me, my parents and everybody.
Okay, what was your favorite subject?
Science.
Science, and you got the best grades for science?
Yeah.
What school you plan to go to?
Mountain View Adventist Academy.
In other news, this country's tourism sector is said to be performing exceptionally well this year. That's according to Tourism, Sports and Culture Minister Cecil Mackey at a media conference earlier today. Mackey says he is very encouraged by the satisfactory figures for the year thus far, noting that arrivals by both air and sea have increased. He outlines that there has been an increase of 8.2% in relation to air arrivals, particularly stay-over visitors. The tourism minister further points out that the country has welcomed 22.3 thousand persons for the first 3 months of the year, which is an exceptional increase to that of the first quarter of 2015.
By sea, yachts went up by 7.1%, 21.8 thousand for the first quarter this year, as compared to 20.3% for the first quarter last year. And arrivals by cruise, an increase of 6.5%. 52,000 would have arrived this year, first quarter, as opposed to 48.8 thousand for the first quarter last year. Arrivals by sea overall increased by 6.7%, 73.8 thousand for first quarter this year, compared with 69.1% for the first quarter last year.
Minister Mackey, however, points out that while every area has shown promising improvements, same-day arrivals continues to have a dismal performance.
The arrivals were indicated quite a few years ago that we do not expect to see an increase in those numbers. Those numbers went down by 21.3%. That figure is high because of the small numbers. In 2016, 514 persons arrived at our shows, same-day visitors, as opposed to 653 last year for the same period.
The tourism minister said that the improvement in the tourism industry is a sign of persons traveling more, and it is beyond parallel with the improvements of the world economy. And Chief Executive Officer of the SVG Tourism Authority, Glenn Beach, says they are currently in talks with LIAT to increase the number of flights for Vinci Mars 2016. At today's media conference, Beach says that the airline's flights to this country for the festive season are all solidly booked, and there is a need for added flights, which has been reduced from 13 flights to 9 daily.
We want to get so many flights in per day. In the past, when LIAT had 13 planes, they used to add on extra flights for Vinci Mars, but it is very difficult now with 9 planes for them to add on any extra flights for us. We have spoken to them about it. They are looking at it to see if they can make any changes to it, because basically when you look at LIAT, it's where LIAT makes its most money is between Simmons and the Grenadines, Barbados and Trinidad. That triangle does very, very well for them.
The Tourism Authority CEO emphasized the importance of LIAT to SVG's tourism industry and gave the assurance that they will continue the discussions with the airline's officials concerning the addition of extra flights for Vinci Mars 2016, especially with the increases coming out of the main international markets, including the USA.
Reminded, without LIAT, we basically have no tourism in terms of airlift, and that affects the yachting sector, the diving sector, and everything. Yes, we have the SVG Airs and the Mustique Airways, but they cannot bring in the volume that LIAT brings in. So we'll continue to work along with the LIAT and do the best we can. We are hoping that they can get some extra flights in for Vinci Mars, as we know we're getting a lot of requests, especially coming out of Trinidad and Barbados, and that does not only have to do with Bajans and Trinidadians, but also the connections coming out of Canada, US and UK. And even when you look at the numbers, our main markets, USA up 9.3%, Canada 1.9%. I can understand Canada, especially because the Canadian dollar tends to be fluctuating quite a bit. Barbados up 27.9%, Trinidad up 47%, and the United Kingdom up 5.7%, and those are our main markets.
Queen's Counsel Panel Campbell is in support of the position taken by Parliament recently to do away with the oath of allegiance to Her Majesty the Queen Elizabeth II and replaced it with an oath of allegiance to the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. On his Law and Yield program on Monday night, aired on SVG-TV, Campbell commended the Minister of Economic Planning, Camilo Gonzalez, for a job well done in his presentation on the bill. The Queen's Counsel said he is in full support of the decision and that it is his belief that the opposition would have agreed to it as well.
As you know, those of us who went through the Constitution review process and who aimed at having the Constitution changed, one of the proposals we had put forward was for a change in the oath of allegiance, and now that it is done, I for one would like to congratulate the government side in Parliament, since unfortunately the opposition was not present at the sitting, but I'm sure if they were present they would have supported that bill, so that persons could take an oath of allegiance to this country, with no disrespect, of course, to Her Gracious Majesty Queen Elizabeth II.
The storage and transportation of liquid petroleum gas (LPG) cylinders has become a grave concern to the Caribbean's leading supplier of petroleum products, Sol. At a two-day training seminar held at the Sunset Shores Hotel, Sol's engineering manager Julian Jackson, who is based in Barbados, said that the company is upgrading their facilities throughout the region and embarking on a major public safety campaign. Sol St. Vincent's general manager Steve Francis reminded persons that LPG cylinders are like bombs and must be treated with extreme caution. She says that a lack of knowledge about the risk and what to do in an accident must also be taught to others.
When we look at LPG as a product, I would say that it is the most dangerous petroleum product that is sold in this country. And if we do not handle it well, if we do not store it well, and we do not transport it properly, we can have a catastrophic situation. In St. Vincent, you can get a mixture of 100% propane or a mixture of propane and butane. I don't know how many of you have ever been on YouTube or on the internet and look at accidents caused through either the transportation or misuse of LPG. It is not a very nice thing to see. It is not a nice thing to see cylinders exploding, because these are like bombs. They can take off at any time and do serious damage.
Francis outlined that another major apprehension his company faces is the transportation of LPG cylinders from different points throughout the country in private and public vehicles.
What you may call cash and carry wholesalers, moving the product from one village to the next by road. And you have to ask yourself sometimes whether or not safety is a key ingredient in this aspect of the transportation of LPG. We also have a situation in this country whereby lots of people are buying LPG, these 20-pound cylinders in particular, and are transporting them in vans. That is not a proper thing to do. Consider for a moment, you have a situation whereby that van gets into an accident. Maybe the cylinder gets pierced, and maybe somebody is smoking in that van, or some other incendiary device causes that particular cylinder to be ignited. Just think of what can happen there.
Economist and lecturer at the University of the West Indies, Dr. Merlene Arts, is strongly advising Caribbean governments to pay more attention to the rate of unemployment among the youth. Dr. Molinas, who was delivering the UWI lecture Energy, Security and Sustainable Development lecture, highlighted that in all the countries in the region, the rate of unemployment, according to the International Labour Organization, was significantly high and higher among females. The economic advisor to the Trinidad government further expressed a concern over the level of crime sweeping throughout the Caribbean.
I'm not a criminologist, but every time you hear the news coming out of Trinidad and Tobago, it is always a young man. I made a comment to someone the other day, facetiously, that I don't seem to have old man bandits anymore, because everybody who's getting killed in Trinidad and Tobago is under the age of 21, so I'm not too sure what is happening to the old bandits. It could be that all the old bandits in jail or something like that, you know, but it's only young men getting killed in Trinidad and Tobago. But that also has an implication for what your demographics looks like in terms of your working population. So if you're all young men getting killed, who will then work next 5 and 10 and 15, 20 years? All right, so these are issues that we have to look at from a holistic development perspective.
The Economist recommends more agricultural-based occupations to ensure employment for youngsters.
Years ago when I came to St. Vincent on another project, I was very impressed with the extent to which the rich soil in St. Vincent and the agriculture. I remember standing in somebody's carrot field, and I'm like, wait, boy, I didn't realize we used to grow carrots in the Caribbean, and being very impressed. So food security is another issue that we continue to lament about the high food import bills, but what are we doing? what are we doing about it? We're complaining. We do have the foreign exchanger, because I say to people, the only people who demand EC dollars and TT dollars and Barbados dollars are the people living in Barbados and Trinidad or in the OECS. Nobody else in the world. So every time we have to pay for food that we import, it's foreign exchange that is being used, and scarce foreign exchange, because our economies aren't growing.
Vincentian Veron Primers has been indicted by a grand jury for causing the death of 16-year-old Chanel Petro Nixon in Brooklyn, New York in 2006. This is the second murder charge which Primers is facing. He is currently behind bars here after being charged with the murder of real estate agent Charlene Graves. On Wednesday, Brooklyn District Attorney Kenneth Thompson announced that Primers, who resided in Brooklyn Crown Heights area, has been charged with Petra Nixon's murder. Commenting on the development in the case, her mother, Lucita Petra Nixon, described it as a bittersweet day, noting that finally they can see a light at the end of the tunnel, as they have hope for her daughter will get justice soon. According to the New York authorities, Petra Nixon, 16 at the time of her death, was last seen leaving her home on June 18, 2006. She told her family that she was meeting a friend, later revealed to be Primers, who attended middle school with her. The teenager never returned home. She was found 4 days later in a garbage bag outside 212 Kingston Avenue, dead from strangulation, according to the New York authorities. The New York police say they will be seeking to have Primers brought back to New York to stand trial, but it will be a lengthy process. Carnival Beat is coming up. Stay with us. Welcome to Carnival Beat this evening. 31 years of exquisite pageantry is the theme for the 2016 Miss Caraval pageant, slated for Friday, July 1st, 2016 at Carnival City, Victoria Park. This year's pageant will see 10 beauties, including host countries St. Vincent and the Grenadines, vying for the coveted title. We get more on who the contestants are in this report.
Excitement continues with little more than a week to go before 10 beauties from across the Caribbean grace the stage at Carnival City, Victoria Park for the staging of Miss Caraval 2016. Reigning Miss St. Vincent and the Grenadines Nikiana Tanisha Williams continues her journey at excelling at whatever she does, with an interest in dancing, poetry and short story writing, hairstyling and dramatizing. The 22-year-old credits her mother for shaping her into the young lady she is today. Miss Anguilla Chelsea Nicole Hughes has distinguished herself as an ambitious, motivated, purpose-driven individual and has to this day proven such in the fields of academics, sports and recreation. A passionate singer, reader, dramatist, writer and overall performer, 24-year-old Janicia Francis, representing Trinidad and Tobago, currently possesses an Associate of Art degree in psychology, and by the end of 2016 she will have her bachelor's. Ivana David Miss St. Lucia grew up with her grandmother, who nurtured a sense of appreciation within her for farming. With her high-spirited nature and love for cosmetology, her interest in culture became the inspiration for competing in pageants. Tabiana Twittis is a caring, driven and focused person who aims to positively influence everyone who comes within contact with her. The Miss Montserrat contestant is an advocate for culture, and she intends to use her platform to educate her fellow youths. With her ultimate career goal of becoming a politician, 19-year-old Cheryl Ford continues to work towards achieving this objective. Her love for stage and performing drove her to enter the Miss Queen's College pageant, where she placed first runner-up, and the Miss Barbados Caribbean pageant, where she emerged the winner. Receiving a Bachelor of Science in 2010 at the age of 16, Miss Venezuela Michelle Suarez has held various activities and had stakes in action and animation. Her primary education was obtained at the Unit Carlos Jose Mujica and her secondary education at the St. Mary College. Being the oldest of 6 siblings, 23-year-old Miss St. Kitts and Nevis Angel Erskine has lived her life in a manner that will not only uplift her 5 younger siblings, but also be a role model for them in life. Her zeal for living a bountiful life is polished by her adoration for the performing arts. Ambitious, determined, and passionate are a few of the qualities that personify Miss Grenada Nyanka Samuel Robinson. Nyanka's dedication to the cultural art form has never wavered, as the 19-year-old continues to be involved in the arts. Tassia Floysack has always aimed to strike the balance between academics and extracurricular activities, as she is very active and took up leadership roles in her college's student body activities. Recognizing that her extended family has played a major role in her upbringing and success, she launched a social platform in April 2016 called FIRES, Families Influencing Resilient and Empowered Societies. The 2016 edition of the Miss Caraval pageant will feature Vincentian international recording artist Marlon Rudette, who is promised to put on an even more exciting showcase. Vincentians are being urged to come out and support all 10 young ladies as they grace the stage at Carnival City, Victoria Park. Reporting for Carnival Beat, I am Nikita Tony.
Jamuel Dinero Matias is no stranger to the Soca arena, and in an interview earlier this week with SVG-TV News, the upcoming Soca star says his experience so far has been fulfilling. He outlined that while airplay has been a challenge, he remains determined at getting his music out, especially through the rural carnivals.
2015 was my come up year with coming at this Power Soca. Yeah, but I have other tracks before, but the problem was like the radio plays and so forth. I target the rural areas like Mespo, Chateau to get a performance there and so forth. This year I have 2 tracks out. One is called I Like It, and the next one is a feature with me and Wizkid called Do What You Wanna Do. So far the response has been huge, you know, just everybody's congratulating us on the work we did, and they like the style, it's different. So we just want to keep, I just want to keep that type of flow for the upcoming years.
Matthias, who seemed extremely elated about the carnival season so far, noted that he expects to play an even bigger part in Vincy Mars.
Well, I hope to achieve more shows, you know, so people could get to really know who Dinero is, because a lot of people still don't know who Dinero is. Just expect big things from Dinero and Stereo Damage. Just give them a mixture of everything.